This is a petrified human footprint, a human foot actually, and I will show the thing in its entirety in a minute. Now, what I want you to take away from this is these structures right here. You see these little circles, the little thing, and the little dots around them, dots around them, dots around them. They're all over the place, and those invest what's called in this case, it's the foot has the grip skin of the foot, the heavy-duty skin on the foot. Invest that into the lower level of the foot, and that's what lets it slurp around. I call it the slurpees. These things are called slurpees, and you know, that's what I call them. And I don't even know if they know about these things in anatomical. So I can't see them in the anatomical drawings, but they're absolutely here, and they are in the fingers and the hands too. And I see them in all of the grip skin, and specifically, now they may be in all of the areolar tissue. And the areolar tissue is between the top skin and the basement layer of skin. It's areolar means holes, and I have stuff around here with that on it all over the place, and I will show you that stuff shortly. Now this is really incredible. Now this was found right next to where this foot was found. And it's right in the same area. It's Triassic rock. And this right here, you see this? Look at this. I don't know if you can see that, how well you can see that, but that is like a little dot there with radiating things coming out of it. And that is the guy's, front of the guy's his foot. And that was where the balls of his feet are, and the big toe goes there, and that's where that I forget what they call it. It's the bone that's on the back of your foot. I'll remember. But anyway, now you can see over here. You see this? This is that same identical structure. You see that right up there? You see this? I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can. But that is the structure in the front of the foot that is that same structure right there. If you can see that. I don't know if you can or not. But isn't that something? And that is where the guy's foot hit there. And of course, this is no question. Now, this is, here, let me turn the lights on and do this a little better. Alright, this is all up on Mudfossils University, and there's that foot that I just showed you the bottom of. And these are this is how they look. They're grippers. They're like grippers, and they're almost like little grabbers like this. Now, oh, excuse me. Now, the skin is up here. That's hair and so forth. I scrubbed that when I was playing around over there, so don't worry about that. The guy's not injured. Don't worry. Now, that's his skin, and here's the areolar tissue with these grippers that go in here to here, and this is your basement layer, which is goes snugs up into your muscles and all that. Now, this with this here in the areolar tissue allows your skin to move around like this. I don't know, you know, and I don't know about this part, but I do know that these have these grippers, and they're strong. And I think they're in every one of your tendon attachments too. They have these same similar grippers. Anyway, that's what I found out. Now, it's Mudfossil University up on YouTube. It's free. There's no charge. You go there, and nobody's going to hurt you. See what you think. Yeah, just go about your life. Alright, these are the footprints. This is the footprint right here, and I put a little water. You can see the separation of the toes and the big toe and everything. Now, that little flicky thing I showed you, see that? This is the same thing that I showed you right in the middle of the foot. It has that pattern. And this, of course, was found on top of that. This is what they call the black cap of, and then below the black cap is the gray shale and then the red bed. Now, here's the interesting thing. This footprint, which is clearly a footprint, and it clearly was pushed down through the red bed, which is here. Now, this is the red bed, and it is red. I mean, there's no question. It's fine. This is the area where it's all Triassic rock. It's right down the street from Dinosaur State Park, and the East Berlin cut, which is from the Newark zone, and this is Hartford Terrane 5, which is one of the deepest rift valleys in the face of the planet. That's true. It's in Connecticut, USA. It's a separation zone. Now, remember, the red bed was around here, which would have had this gray shale on top, and what happened was when he stepped on this, the gray shale went underneath. See? Here's the gray shale. So here's your red bed. Clearly the gray shale was pushed through that red bed, which was here. Now, what does that tell you? Everything was wet at the same time, and there was a human being standing on it, and this is Triassic rock. So, obviously this is not a good thing for what they're saying, because it's just not what they're saying. Oops, it's just not true. So, and you could see that this guy stepped on it, and it was wet, and on the edges, there's literally no dimply looking things, because his foot sort of does this. See, there's nothing over here, but when he came up, it slurped up like that. And there's that little structure that I showed you on the actual guy's foot. So when he stepped in there, he was probably running. I don't know. This was that, oh, I can't remember the name. I think it's calcaneus bone. Now, so that's what you got here with this. Now, so this is this guy. And the black cap, of course, on the top. Now you got the foot. This was that foot that I showed you, and that is that pattern that was in the foot that we spoke about, and it is in that other one of the footprint. Now, this is an actual foot. Now, what's interesting here is I think this guy had something on his foot. I think he had some kind of a foot covering, or a boot or something, because it's I don't know what to say. That's not the shape of a normal foot. There is no toe structure here. Now, in addition to that, there's a little thing in the front here, which, to my way of thinking, could be something that could be indicative of an actual clamp with a metal rivet, because it's there's a red rusty shape coming out of there, and then this is this round shape, and something flapped off here. Now, that could be layering of the skin or something too, but I just don't know. I have no clue. But it almost looks like there's a metal rivet here, and a metal rivet here, and something flapped over here, and a tag over the top. But I don't know. I don't see any toes coming out of here. I know that's a foot. There's no question it's a foot, because I can see a heel and everything. It's hard for people to see this, but that is the heel, and that is the calcaneus bone, they call it, which is a bone that's on the back of your foot on that side. And of course all the articulation of here. So that means there was either a sole on here, and that's gone, or that's this guy's foot somehow. I don't know. But I know that this is his heel and the bone, and all around here, I'm going to show you that in a microscope, it's all the tendinous material. It turns white, and the bone has a different color, and then the flesh has a different color. And the bone is right here. That's where the bone is, and then the fibula like hangs off to the side, and that part has fractured off here. That's what we got here. So anyway, I will show this on a microscope, but none of this stuff is supposed to be where it is. And of course, here's a bone, and these bones, I find I got lots of them, and they are fully articulated with all of the fascia on them, and all of the blood investments, and all of the cartilage, and the bone foramens, and where the tendons invested, and the ligaments invested, and all of the tuberosities are there, and I mean everything is here. This is so completely articulated that there is no one that has a better anatomical models than I have, because these are the actual ones, and they're preserved in a way that I figured it out. It's mud fossils, and they're preserved in mud. And this is a goose's head. It's a goose head, and his eye is right there. I mean, his eye is totally 100% articulated. All the feather pattern is there. It's a goose. And you know, you have to get it in the right lights and so forth to get to see correctly, but it's there. It's a goose head. You can see you can see right into his eye. Anyway, and of course the beak, and his little beak is there. All that stuff, and that, you know, it's what it is. Now, this is not supposed to be here, and this is Triassic rock. That's 200 million years ago, they say. So here's the problems I got. It all happened like the same day, as far as I'm concerned. You got the red bed, the gray shale, and the black cap, all, and the guy standing there right in the middle of it. It's happened pretty darn quick. At least the two bottom layers happened instantaneously, as far as I'm concerned. Now, and the human being was there. So, I'd like to have somebody explain it to me with their current thinking. Or they got to start and start to rethink things, or just not walk away from it, and that's what's happening. All right, this is that heel bone, and that little brown spot there, that at the bottom, this is called the calcaneus tuberosity, and that is it's really like a it's not really a bone, but it's on the end of your heel bone, and there is the grip skin that's on the outside of the heel bone. I believe that's what this is, and I'm 100% sure that is tissue, but so I can tell you it's tissue now, and somebody might have wrapped it with some kind of a tissue. Now, going up this direction is the bone and the heel. Now you see here, let me see if I can shield some of this light, or brighten it up, or do something so you can see this a little better. It's hard to make out that heel bone within there, but that, see the round spot at the top and the black leakage there? The black is bone black, and this round spot right here is the bone. And underneath, if you follow, it's hard, very, very hard to see. But that bone is here, and there's some little bone holes in there. Those are called, I don't know, holes in the bone, little vascular holes. I don't know what they are. Let me see if I get a little better light on it. You see the little holes in there? See the tiny little holes? That's where all of the blood feeds it. That's kind of bright there. Anyway, that's the heel bone. Now, then you get to the top, and that's where you got your bone there coming up. Now, I'm going to be grinding that down underneath. But first I want to get some shots at this, because you see all these white spots, where the little white spots with the holes in the middle of them, those are where the tendons come up. And my theory, and it's pretty well proven as far as I'm concerned, is those tendons come out of the feet of giants, coming up from the water table underneath, and those tendons have arterial vessels in them, which are open, and they are the water sources for all of these structures around the world. Now, this is the front of that foot. Now, let's look and see what's down in here. Let's see if we can see. This is some kind of an animal skin or something. You see, this is not, I don't know if it's human skin, I don't know. Let's go down and look at it a little closer. I'm going to shut down the whiteout condition here. Hold on. You see that? That is normal for some kind of animal skin. Now, I don't know if that's normal for human skin in this foot structure. I don't think it is. Now let's look at the bottom, which is the guy's actual foot, I think, but I'm not even sure of that. It's going to be similar, but not that kind of effect. Hold on. Let me get this out. You see here? This is what you see underneath. This is all this gnarly looking stuff. Now, let's look around at the sides and the top. It's a little more dense of a different skin structure. Believe me, I've looked at a lot of skin. As a matter of fact, I got a giant finger over here we got to look at. You see how much black spots there is on it? That's some kind of tough skin. When you see that amount of black spots, that's the silicone. And normally the humans don't have quite that density. I don't think, I could be totally wrong, but I think that's like some kind of animal hide, and a tough one. Because that's what the toughness is that stuff. Now, hold on one second, let's do something else. Alright, this is a giant finger I found a couple days ago. I don't know if I told you or not. I have a lot of giants too. And this is a giant finger. And you see there? there's that pattern of that thing investing in there. And there's another one right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're all over the place. And this is a finger, and that was the fingernail bed. And this here is the blood and so forth from the inside, and it runs out and it pours out of the arterial side, which has no clamp, and the vein side turns black, and you end up with red blood and black blood. And that's what this is. Now, you see all of the bones and everything else in here, they get invaded. It's called nucleophilic invasion. Now, I have some of this skin. I'm working on it right now, but I'll show you this in a microscope. It's organic, and it's a giant finger. Now, I have other ones that are toes, and, well, here's a giant toe right here. Hold on. And it's bizarre as hell. Heck, I mean, here, let me show you something. Let me turn the lights on. All right, this is a big toe of a giant, and that's exactly what it is. And this here is the toenail, and there's that little circle that I'm talking about all the time with the red blood inside of it. And that's his toenail, and that will actually turn into silicon just like this. Toenails turn just like that, and then there's the blood underneath. They turn into that silicon, and I have quite a few of them. They're not just one or two here and there. Here's another one like this, and you see that that's a big toe, and it will continue to transition down until it turns into this silver stuff completely just like this. I don't know why, but you could see that bone in there? You can still see parts of the bone that are still left in this. Or that might be one of those tuberosities, but whatever it is, it's an organic tissue. And then there's a red blood investment in the front. There's a tuberosity in the back. This one is a toe, and here's the guy's callus. You see that? That's the guy's callus on his big toe. And this one has one too, a really nasty one. Look at that callus. That's the guy's callus on his big toe. You see that? That's the grip skin from underneath. Now, it is the grip skin, and there is that tuberosity thing that's at one of the pads of your big toe. That's that tuberosity, and that's what that tuberosity is left over in this thing here, right there. There's the artery, the vein, and the vein blood is always black, and the vein blood blew out of this side. There's two little holes there, they're the vein holes. It blew out of that side because it couldn't blow out of the other side. And this is that little scuzzy looking skin that's in the inside of your toe. That's what it is, a giant toe. Now I have a lot of giant stuff, And it's just what it is. And then I have all kinds of organs and things, the organs that, well, I can tell you. There's a little kidney. I have hearts and livers and burses and lungs, and every single thing you can think of. So that's what it is. That's what it is. All right, this is the skin from that big finger I just had a minute ago. And hold on, let me adjust this up. Into your seats, ladies and gentlemen. We are approaching cruising altitude. All right, here we go. Now, this is that skin. Now you see over there on the right, I'm going to try and move on a thing, but it always gives me a hard time when I move it around. It's focusing in. But anyway, well, let's not play around with that. I have that. Anyway, this is the skin. You see these? These are I believe they're skin cells. And what they have done is, this is in the one that has the acid. And the acid one normally cracks the bonds, they call it, and sure enough it did. And it releases the metal complexes which are in the cellular material. That's what I'm seeing here. Now I could be totally wrong, but I see this, I see it. I see what I see now. I have one that's up and one that's down. That's the same piece of skin, but I flipped one side up and one side down. Now this is the outer layer, and this is the inside layer. So if this one was tipped the same as this, that's what you'd see is this on the other side. So here's what you're seeing exposed to the world, and this is see those little grippy things again? There's those grippy things. That's what's underneath the skin. Now I have some other big pieces of this skin that I might be able to look at better. Not right now. Now I'm going to go from the acid one to the base one. Now, I did another one in base. And here's the base one. Hold on one second. Almost nothing, you see it? There's no effect to that at all, almost. It's just sitting there. So you need acid. See, there's nothing, and they were both the same piece, like right next to, they were, you know, exactly from the same piece. One went to the right vial and had acid, one went to the left vial, had base. And the acid is what cracks the bonds and releases the hemoglobin and the DNAs and all that. So that's just what it is. All right, that's the underneath of his finger, of the flesh of his finger. It's been torn off underneath, and this is what that bloody matrix looks like. And that's his whole underside of his finger. Now you get to where there is less of that, you're into like tendons and where the bone used to be. But nothing of the original stuff stays, because it all gets invaded. The only thing that doesn't really get invaded is the blood. Blood is the preservative on all these things. You see that? That's, I think, one of those little round investments there. I'm almost sure of it. Hold on, see if I can get in on that. Yep, there it is. There's one of those little skin investments. See that? That keeps the tissue from shaking around on your skin too hard. And there'll be a whole lot of them on here. See, there's more of them. And I can probably find a lot more if I keep going, but I'm sure you're getting bored of this. I don't seem to ever get bored of it, but anyway, that's what it is. So that's that big finger, and here's the big finger right here. I don't know if I even showed it to you yet. Over here, let's get a little light on this. This is what I was just looking at right here. It's the finger. And that's where the blood and so forth leaks out from underneath. They're very, very heavy with blood. And there's one of those little investments right there, you see? See one of those little grippy things? Might be able to see a bunch of them under here. But they're in all of this kind of skin tissue. And that's just what it is. And then there's that little thing at the top here, which is one of those. And there's one here. And underneath these fingertips, they have what we call an apical tuft. And it's this thing right here. That's an apical tuft. And that is what's on the very, very, very tip of your finger. So your finger bone is like 10 times bigger than this. And then this sticks off the very end of it, and all of your tendons, balls, come in and they hook into this. They call these tuberosities, these little cavities. And there's like a whole bunch of straps, and that's a ball right there. And it comes down, and they lock into these tubes, and these tuberosities. And that's what makes your fingers do all its kind of things. And of course they have them on these too. They have other ones. And I have another giant finger around here somewhere. Here it is right here. There's this one and this one here, and the rest of the hand is out on site. But this is a distal phalanges, and that right there is that tuberosity right there, and the rest is the bone that's still in here. That's where it blows out the vein, and I mean that's the artery side, and it blows out the end. And then on the other side you have the vein side. They don't blow out because they have pinchers that pinch off and they can't go backwards. That's where the arteries, I mean the tendons, clamp to it and let you do this. And that's they call that a bone silhouette. It's because of the ferritins that are in there. Now here's another, and that was DNA tested human, 100% human, and they're giants. This is all areolar tissue. This still has the bone, has the nail bed is in there. It's hard to see, but in the CAT scan, there's all this stuff is CAT scan too, and it's perfectly easy to see. And this has, of course, the tendon spots where the tendons invest and all that, and it has the apical tuft at the end, and it's all the areolar tissue that I showed you, that sort of stuff, how that invests before. So these are giants, and this is not huge, this is not big at all. So that's what they are, and they're all over the place, and they're in your backyard too, but nobody sees them because they don't have the eyes to see them. They haven't opened their eyes big enough. You gotta open your eyes bigger, my friends. This is transitioning. Now this is a fingertip, and you see this strappy looking crystallized stuff in there. There's all the blood that ran out of the arterial side of the blood vessel. And they transition like this. Now there's a vein and an artery in there. The little brown one is the vein, and that's the artery. And that's what happens. They transition like this and turn into minerals, and some of them will go further. And this will all leave too, and it will eventually, it tries to find this. It tries to find this form. You see this? This is very cool. You see that little black stripe there? That's that little thing that's underneath your finger here. Like that little thing right there. Yeah, that's that little black thing right there. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? But that's what these things are. They're all, there's toes and fingers and every kind of thing you can think of. Now, here's what we're going to look at. Is this is really very, very cool. It doesn't get any cooler than this. This is that big fingertip. I mean, that big fingertip. And let's see on the light. You know, you could play around with the light, but I'm not going to bother. This is the very, very, very outside layer. This is what you present to the world. And that is it's a pretty strong layer. Now you see there's not all those little black spots on this like there was on that foot. Now that foot I think is wrapped with some kind of a very tough animal skin, but I could be wrong. Anyway, this is the most furthest out, and it's decaying layer by layer by layer. So I'm going to try to move this and see layer by layer what the difference is until we get down to the basement. Well, we're not going to get to the basement skin, but we're going to get a little lower, like the guy had a real bad sunburn. All right, now I'm going to see if I can come across here. You see it steps off of that, and then we're going to step down to this layer underneath it. Let's see this, where that little black dot is. It drops off. Let me see if I can drop down in there. Oops, wrong way. You see from the whitish start down to the, here, let me see if I can get my pointer here. You see, this is the top layer. This layer right here is underneath. Now, you see that spot? That is a vessel, a blood vessel. And blood is fed from the lower layers up. Now, let's move over. It's going to drop down another drop. See here? Skin peels over and over. Skin keeps dropping, dropping, dropping. It's very interesting. So here's the next layer. You see down in here? And it gets more and more fibrous as it gets lower and lower, and gets towards where this is the next layer down here. Now you see there's a lot more minerals down in here. You see how it's turning white and mineralized? Let me see if I can home in. Now we're getting down to where it's getting in tight and digging in. See it? Now, up in here, let's see. There'll be investment spots that are deeper than others, like this one right here. This is the kind of that round investment I showed you before of skin. Hold on. It's going to be hard to sink. There it is right there. See a round ball in the center? You can't see it the way we saw it before. Very extremely good articulation because there's a bunch of goop. Now I'm going to go to another one here. I see another one that looks much better. Hold on, this one right here. This one here, if I could just get it stuck for 1 second. Oops. This one here looks real good, but it's going to be hard for you to see. Well, anyway, they're there. There's no question there. And then, of course, you saw the inside stuff. And let's see if I can bring it down to this. This looks interesting. I don't even know what it's going to be, but it's one of these balls that have these investment spots. It looks really gnarly. Hold on. That's, you see between that black looking stuff and then the red looking stuff, that's different tissue types. And one of them is digging into the other one. The one that's real fibrous, like there at the top of stuff, that is an investment into this fleshy stuff. This is all the grip skin, very, very tough stuff. And then when it mineralizes, you can see how tough it is. That's nothing like what's in a regular flesh. The body is so magnificently built. And I'm telling you, if it just did this by bumping into each other, then those are pretty smart little molecules, I can tell you that. No way did this just happen by accident. I'm just going to leave it at this. This is what you're going to see that coats all of the rocks that are literally were living organic things. And this is you're going to find this on almost every rock you pick up, because almost every rock that you're going to find was a creature part, if it's not lava. Now, it may be so big that you can't see the blood vessels and so forth in it, but go out and look and spend some time and you'll find it. Spend 15 minutes, I guarantee you're going to find it. Thank you. Okay, final words. You saw what I have here. I've been trying to push this for 5 years now. I have DNA tests, which this is 3 different DNA tests were done here. Extremely sophisticated tests. All of this information is up on mudfossils.com, and then there's a link to the DNA results and how they did it and how they amplified this and that. And very, very, very. This is no, send it off and 15 minutes later you got your test. This took quite a while. At any rate, this is not silly stuff, and it was certified by the lab director, and then it was sent off to another place was called Eaton Biolabs, and they sequenced it and matched it to the national database or the excellent. They matched it to every thing that ever existed, and it came out to be modern human mitochondrial DNA, 2 regions in the 2 regions, 100 base pairs in each region. So anyway, what I'm getting at here is either you just keep going on and just not, I presented this to Yale. They say that this is not real. They just say, oh, it must not be true. But they don't want to look at it because it's really gonna hurt them. It's not gonna hurt anybody. Anybody can be wrong, but to do this is really wrong. To avoid it for 5 years and to say no, this doesn't exist, and I don't want to see it. And my job is to teach the kids the reality, and I don't want to see the reality. So you have to deal with this yourself, because I can't, nobody's listening to me. So that's the reality of it. Yale won't look at it, Harvard won't look at it, Johns Hopkins, forget that. None of them will look at it, not a single one of them. So it's up to you to either just go about your life and blindly, or ask somebody, why don't you look at this stuff? It's Mudfossils. And on Facebook, it's Mudfossils, A New Science, and Mudfossils Revelation, because this has a lot to do with history. History's all wrong too. Humanity's totally wrong. History's wrong. Everything's wrong. So now it's time to talk about this instead of just hiding in the sand. Last word. Thank you.